I didn't expect the first crack in my chest to come from something as stupid as gift wrap. But there I was, sitting on the floor of my parents' San Diego living room, watching my younger brother Zane lift the cover off a brand new MacBook Pro top tier. Engraved, matte black finish, the kind influencers brag about. My parents practically sparkled. Mom clasped her hands. Dad acted like he personally invented Apple. Zane laughed, that lazy laugh he always used when life handed him something he didn't earn. And me. I stared at the thing in my lap. A planner. A dollar store planner. Pink, glittery, a cartoon unicorn riding a rainbow. They didn't even bother peeling off the $3 sticker. Open it, sweetheart, Mom chirped. I did. Inside was a single folded $5 bill. For your goals, Dad said proudly, like he'd given me stock in their house. You're the organized one, you'll make it work. Zane smirked at me over the edge of his MacBook. Hey sis, he said, I'll help you budget if you want. My chest tightened, not with anger, not with sadness. With recognition. This wasn't new, this was tradition. The night settled into the usual routine, Dad asking Zane about his future startup, Mom bragging about his natural talent, both pretending the world rotated around his half-baked ideas. And me. I sat silently, every cell in my body vibrating with a truth I'd been swallowing for 32 years. They didn't see me. Not really. Not the job I worked my way up in construction engineering. Not the promotion I had earned last week after months of late nights. Not the fact I had literally fixed their leaking roof last winter because Zane couldn't lift anything heavy. I could have announced my promotion with a marching band behind me. They still would have handed me a unicorn planner. By midnight I was in the guest room, my old room, lying on the bed like a ghost in a museum display. The posters on the wall were still from high school, they never replaced them. Why would they? I wasn't the child worth updating. Downstairs I heard laughter. Zane's voice. My parents cheering him on like he was performing open-heart surgery instead of unboxing electronics. Something in me snapped, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly. A fracture too clean to ignore. By morning, before the sun even stretched into the sky, I was stuffing clothes into my old duffel bag. I took nothing sentimental except a photo of me and my college roommates taped to the mirror. As I slipped my shoes on near the door, my mum walked in. You're leaving already? She asked, surprised. I nodded, long drive. She didn't ask where. She didn't ask if I was okay. She didn't ask why my eyes were swollen. Instead, she said, can you Venmo us the money for the groceries we bought yesterday? Your brother wanted steak. Of course he did. I didn't argue. I just left the key on the counter and walked out, quietly, fully. Like someone who realized they'd been drowning and finally chose air. The highway felt endless, but in a good way, like distance was medicine. My phone buzzed non-stop. Moms, where are you? Dad, you're being dramatic. Zane, can you pick up protein powder on our way back? I turned the phone face down on the passenger seat. I didn't block them. The silence was more powerful. Halfway to Arizona, the desert opened up into a golden stretch of nothing. It felt honest, empty in a way that welcomed me. My chest loosened for the first time in years. Then my phone rang with a name I hadn't seen since college. Lee. Former roommate, former ride or die. The one person who always told me the truth, even when I wanted lies. You alive? Her voice burst through the car like sunlight through blinds. Barely, I admitted. Come to Phoenix, stay with me. I don't want to intrude. You've never intruded. Get here before sunset, I'll make pasta. She hung up before I could refuse. And so I drove. Lee's apartment was small, loud with mismatched furniture and warm lights. She hugged me like she could feel the years of exhaustion in my bones. That night, sitting on her couch with a bowl of pasta and the hum of her old fan in the background, I told her everything. She didn't interrupt, not once. When I finished, she asked a single question. Why do you think you stayed so long? I stared at the pasta bowl, because leaving would mean admitting they'd never change. She nodded like she understood the part I didn't say out loud. And that hurts more than staying. Weeks passed. I found a short-term job at a local firm, just project drafting, but it kept my hands busy and my mind quieter. Lee let me stay in her spare room in exchange for cooking on Sundays. It felt equal, simple, honest. But my parents didn't stop. Dad's voicemails turned angry. Mom's turned guilt-heavy. Zane's turned ridiculous. Zane, bro, Mom's crying, can you talk to her? Zane, Dad says embarrassing the family. Zane, hey, can you send me $150, gym membership due? I didn't reply to any of them. Then one afternoon, while I was at the office printer, my manager, a tall guy named Beck, walked over. You got mail, he said, holding out a white envelope. My stomach tightened. My parents' handwriting. I almost threw it away. But curiosity is a stubborn thing. Inside was a note. Come home, we miss you. Your room is waiting. My room. The one frozen at age 16. The one they never updated. The one that proved I was permanently 17 in their minds. I tore the note into strips and dropped it in the trash. Beck raised an eyebrow. Everything okay? I shrugged. Just old stuff. Sometimes old stuff is the heaviest. He walked away, leaving the words hanging. Therapy wasn't something I planned. Lee signed me up. You need someone who isn't me, she said. Dr. Avery's office was painted sage green, soft enough to make breathing easier. Our first session was awkward, the kind where you want to apologize for existing. But session by session, something shifted. I learned words I never used. Neglect. Parentification. Emotional starvation. Survival. I learned I wasn't dramatic, I wasn't overreacting, I wasn't ungrateful. I was injured. And healing was slow, messy, and real. 3 months after I left home, something unexpected happened. My company offered me a full-time position. Not just full-time, a leadership track. Me, the unicorn planner kid. I accepted. Lee bought a cake. Beck clapped me on the back. Dr. Avery smiled when I told her. And in a tiny apartment in Phoenix, for the first time in my life, I felt like someone worth celebrating. Summer arrived, heat pressed against the city like a heavy hand. Life settled into routines, morning coffee, work deadlines, quiet evenings on the balcony with a book. Then one afternoon, while scrolling through emails, I froze. A message from my cousin Myra. Wedding in San Diego. Family invited. Including you. My pulse stuttered. Returning home meant facing it all. The favoritism, the years of invisibility, the apology I would never get and finally didn't need. Dr. Avery asked, do you want to go? I don't know. What scares you more, going back or proving you don't belong there anymore? I didn't answer. Because I wasn't sure. The week of the wedding crept closer like a slow tide. My suitcase sat half-packed on the floor. I stared at it for hours some nights, the desert wind humming against the window. Was I going for Myra? For closure? For revenge? For proof? Or for the version of me who stayed too long? On the morning I had to decide, my phone pinged. A text from Zane. Just 5 words. Don't make this about you. I stared at the screen. Then I zipped the suitcase shut. Not for him. Not for them. For me. To see if I could walk into the place that broke me and still remain whole. The desert sky was pink when I stepped onto the balcony before leaving. My heart was steady. My hands weren't shaking. Lee leaned against the doorframe, sipping coffee. You ready? She asked. No, I said honestly, but I'm going anyway. She smiled. That counts as ready. I laughed softly, grabbed my suitcase and walked toward the elevator. For the first time in my life, I wasn't going home to be seen. I was going to see myself. And now the question. If you were Iris, would you walk into that wedding, or leave the past behind forever?